Four junkies are walking down the street, with the shirtless dude dragging an unconscious person behind him, strong as hell. They plan to break into a pharmacy owned by the father of one junkie, who challenged his barber to a tic-tac-toe battle during his haircut. The others hurry him up and one young girl along with them, Nikita, is busy listening to her music and just mumbling that she wants her fix. The owner, hearing the noises downstairs, calls the police before grabbing his shotgun, like he's been waiting for this moment all his life. The junkies break in and begin rummaging around for pills while shirtless dude with space for brains is just fascinated with the sunglasses. Suddenly the lights come on and the owner holds them at gunpoint. He is shocked to see his own son, who pleads that they are desperate. Another junkie, who seems already high on something, pulls two guns when the cops suddenly turn up. So the cops start blasting, spraying the goddamn place with submachine guns at the goons, who return fire and manage to kill two cops. Shit for brains, instead of helping his friends, just wants to cause chaos and begins hacking away at a slot machine for no reason. Nikita needs to tell us the name of those headphones cause she can't hear nor see a goddamn thing that's going on. While the junkies are having a blast, one cop takes aim and takes out the guys with well-placed shots. After the chaos, the cops scan the scene only to find Nikita still wearing her headphones. She is so high she asks the cop for drugs, and when he says no, that's when she decides to pull out a gun on the cop before blasting him in the face. Don't do drugs, kids. So they bring her in for questioning with a detective who must be a feminist, cause he really believes in equal rights. He helps Nikita wake up a bit, then wants her to write down her full name, but Nikita stabs him in the hand he used to slap her, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is true equality. She is brought under heavy guard to trial, where all the murders of the cops during the shootout are pinned on her, and she is sentenced to life in prison. And I think that sobered her up a bit, and she begins to scream that she's gonna kill them all. It takes around 10 cops to hold her down and drag her crazy ass away to serve her time. In prison, 2 doctors sent by the government visit her one day and prepare to give her a dose of lethal injection. Nikita pleads for them to stop, but they inject her just the same. Instead of dying, Nikita surprisingly wakes up in an all-white room, quite confused as to what is going on. Just then, a suited man named Bob enters the room, informing her that officially she is dead and is now the property of a government agency called the Center. They have decided to give Nikita a second chance where they will reteach her everything, including how to fight, in order to become an assassin for the government. Nikita is a bit hesitant, but Bob reminds her that they always have a spare room at the cemetery should she refuse. He gives her an hour to think about it, and once the hour is done, Bob comes by to check on her, but Nikita jumps his ass, takes his gun and orders him to lead her outside. They pass an office filled with people he tells her are the agency's employees. They get to a closed door and she orders him to open it, but the other agents begin to close in on her, guns drawn. He indicates that they would rather shoot them than open the door, and Nikita breaks down crying. She tries to off herself, but Bob grabs the gun before shooting her in the leg in order to slow her down. Later, Bob has PTSD and checks carefully before entering the room. Nikita has no choice but to agree to their demands, but doubts that she will be of much use to them. Nikita is taught to use the computer and how to use firearms, which she obviously knows how to use. A black belt karate expert attempts to show her some moves, but gets bitch slapped. That move came from the street's buddy. Nikita then meets with a woman named Amand, whose task it is to transform Nikita from a degenerate into a femme fatale. Bob comes by to check up on her progress, and she begs him for a night out as her 20th birthday is coming up soon. "Girl, you're at least 35, stop lying." Bob doesn't trust her and refuses to give her a pass. Nikita goes back to karate training, and her teacher is taking no chances with her this time and throws her ass to the ground. Bob meets with the leader of the agency, who is quite fed up with Nikita's lack of progress and gives her 2 more weeks to show improvement or she will be out. Bob visits Nikita and brings her a cake for her birthday, which she seems to appreciate. He tells her about her 2 weeks deadline and warns that no matter what he tries, if she fails, then she will be taken out. After he leaves, the thought lingers on her mind. She goes back to Amand for classes and learns that she too is recruited by the Center. 3 years later, Nikita has shaped up quite nicely, now looking at least 30. On her so-called 23rd birthday, Bob gives her the chance to finally have a night out. The two get to a fancy restaurant where Bob presents her with a gift, but makes her wait before opening it. She is quite excited until she sees that it's a loaded gun. Bob reveals that their night out is actually a mission to kill a foreign diplomat and escape from his armed guards to a car, which will be waiting for only 2 minutes after he leaves. Nikita is speechless and feeling betrayed, but composes herself and begins to recall all her training. Nikita calmly walks over and shoots the man dead before making a run for it in that sweet-looking dress. She follows Bob's directions out, only to end up at a dead end. Armed men come looking for her and manage to corner her inside the restaurant kitchen, where an intense gunfight erupts. Nikita is pinned down by guards firing machine guns, but calmly waits before shooting them dead. Another guard prepares to fire a grenade, but Nikita manages to escape down the garbage chute to safety. She recovers and escapes the building into the pouring rain back to the agency. Turns out Bob knew that her escape was blocked and this assassination was actually also her final test. Nikita slaps his ass to the floor and begins to fight him, but Bob calms her down, telling her that she passed and she will be getting out of the center tomorrow. Bob congratulates her for passing and then reveals that he will actually miss having her around. She gives him a kiss which could shake any man to his core. Bob and Nikita go to meet with the leader, who signs off on her being given her first mission. She is given 2 firearms and all her documents to set up a fake life under the codename Josephine. She moves to Paris as a sleeper agent for the center and gets herself an apartment in the city. She goes to the grocery store and is not sure what even to buy, so she just grabs 10 of everything she sees another woman pick up. She heads to checkout where she gets rizzed up but the cashier and can't stop smiling her 30-year-old face off. Completely riznified, Nikita invites the cashier, Marco, back to her place for dinner. In a few minutes, Nikita's kitty is out of control and she pounces on Marco and ends up getting her cheeks smashed. Those cheeks must have been godly, because the next thing we see is Marco serving her breakfast in bed and calling her princess. Even after all this time, Marco knows nothing much about Nikita or her family, wondering how he never sees her parents, friends or anyone, but Nikita simply shuts down. Nikita then gets a call from the center with her first mission. She gets to the bar where a man tells her to head to the basement of a hotel. Nikita arrives at the location where a man holds her at gunpoint, but she gives him her code name and he allows her to pass. Inside the basement, other agents from the center are gathered. She is ordered to change into a maid's outfit. After a long wait, the center agents intercept a call for room service from their target, and begin to prime explosives hidden in the dinnerware and prepare an entire order. Nikita gets to the room where some burly guards are posted outside. The men take the dinner tray and give her a tip and send her on her way. She gets back to the basement where it turns out that's all they wanted her for. Jesus, you could get a monkey to do that. Nikita gets back to her apartment where Bob calls, congratulating her on her first successful mission. Nikita then invites Bob over for dinner and introduces him as her uncle. Nikita then runs and hugs him. Guys, you better start watching your girls' so-called uncles. Anyways, the three sit down for dinner where Marco wants to learn about Nikita's past from Uncle Bob, who surprisingly starts telling some fake-ass story that even shocks Nikita, who is wondering who the hell he is talking about. Marco sucks it all up like the good guy he is. Bob then presents the couple with plane tickets to Venice as their engagement gift. The two get excited and soon arrive in the city and have a fun time riding the river together. They get back to their hotel room and order room service before trying to get me demonetized. Luckily the phone rings and the center is like, no cheek smashing today, as there is a mission awaiting her. Nikita reluctantly accepts and heads to the bathroom where the center has hidden the parts of a gun around the room. Nikita assembles the sweet-looking rifle under instructions from the center and is then ordered to open the window. She manages to smash the glass where it turns out she is at the right spot to scope out 3 men who are a good distance off. The center tells her to wait for orders as they have no idea who the target is yet. The people begin to move, a woman appears and Nikita is ordered to kill her, which she does successfully. She manages to clean up just in time before Marco enters the room, quite fed up with how distant she has been. Once he leaves, she breaks down in tears. Marie then meets with Bob, angry at the little games he plays with her. He gives her another mission, this time an ambassador who will be leaving the country in 6 months. She has up until that time to prepare and to even choose her own team. Nikita then meets with another center operative and they scope out the ambassador's apartment where her target are some files that the ambassador keeps. She is instructed not to kill the ambassador but to use the power of cheeks to compel him. Nikita follows the ambassador, who is on his way to visit his mistress, who is also an art dealer. Nikita intercepts him at the door and her casual behavior gets him to lower his guard. She convinces him that she is a friend of his mistress and also an art dealer. She prepares him a drink, where there is a center agent hidden in the room who puts pills into his drinks. She hands him the cup, then suddenly sticks a gun in his face, forcing him to drink. Surprisingly, the agent looks similar to the ambassador and begins to put on disguise. Suddenly another call from the center stops them, as they have found out that the ambassador uses a code word with his guards which they do not have. The center decides to keep the mission going and to send in a cleanup agent to take care of the guards. The cleanup man arrives and takes out the first guard posted downstairs. The other guard is watching the elevator come up when he gets shot by an unseen figure. The cleaner shows up and it's Leon the professional, but his name is Victor in this movie. Victor drags the bodies to the bathroom and the 2 idiots don't tell him that the ambassador is just knocked out. He loads them into the tub and begins to pour acid when the ambassador starts doing the lambada. Nikita breaks down in shock while the other center agent is freaking out and pulls his gun, but Victor shoots him dead. Nikita wants to call headquarters, but Victor holds her at knife point, insisting that his mission must be completed. Out of options, Nikita decides to disguise herself as the ambassador, and Victor drops her off at his offices. Nikita manages to avoid detection and get to his safe where the secret documents are hidden. The security guard watching the camera should be fired if he believes that's the ambassador. Using camera glasses, Nikita snaps pictures of the papers. Meanwhile, a guard posted outside notices Victor's car parked and comes to check, but Victor simply shoots him dead like it's nothing. Nikita is inside the room when she hears the doors being opened. It turns out to be this big-ass wolf dog, and the two stare each other down. Nikita suddenly makes a run for it and manages to lose the dog. The security guard sees the so-called ambassador running and decides to not raise an alarm. Nikita makes it outside and calls Victor to come for her. A man suddenly comes to the door to check on the ambassador when Victor suddenly shoots him dead. Now the security guard thinks something is strange and raises an alarm. The guards are mobilized and rush over with weapons, and Victor manages to kill a few before he is riddled with bullets. Dude must be made out of adamantium, cause he jumps into the car and smashes through the surrounding wall to make his escape. Victor pulls up to a stoplight, and the lights turn green, but Victor isn't going anywhere but towards the light, as he is dead. Nikita in tears simply walks away and heads back home. After a shower she joins Marco in bed, where he reveals that he knows what she really does for work. He insists that she must stop and that he is willing to still be with her because he truly loves her. Nikita breaks down in tears thanking him. Nikita, knowing that both their lives would be in danger, decides to abandon the center and Marco and disappear. Hearing this, Bob shows up to Marco's apartment with other agents, where he meets with Marco. He begs Bob to let Nikita go as she has paid her debts. Bob states that Nikita is at risk because she has the documents the center needs, but Marco reveals that he has the documents. Both men then sit in silence, agreeing that they will both miss Nikita. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you can watch more movies like this. Thanks for watching.